Upright, upright's right over here. Upright, upright. Robbie Long, Robbie Long. Come on up, come on up. We need your services. Robbie,
so we need you to start the shit show by
the Hares.
get everyone together around.
Gather round for down downs. Y'all come make a circle. Let's make this legit. Come on up here. PM, Fluff, where are you at? Where's PM? There we go.
I'm here, PM! I'm here!
What'd you guys think about that trail? What'd you guys think about that food? What do you think about this fucking awning? Do we have a song for these amazing hashers that laid this awesome trail for us? It sucks. Thank you so much for hearing you guys. You guys are awesome.
Hey, you're just okay.
And with further ado, or is it no further ado? With no further ado? No further ado, I'm going to turn this over to the amazing Micro.
Thank you. Okay, so let me start off. We got our amazing fish costumes here. Okay, we have the, everybody knows me, right? Talk louder. When I go louder, the dogs hear me, okay? So maybe we don't talk out there? Oh, maybe. Concept. Okay, and I see people talking.
Thanks, Mrs. Microscrew.
And I see people talking. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have our amazing fish costumes, and they are raffle costume men. And these were Dogfish's and Dianna's Halloween costumes that she made for them. So, kind of cool. The raffle, it's a 1-win-10. The money is going to go to a bench for Dogfish at the river park. Don't ask me where. We're starting the whole concept. We've already got $700 and we're working towards $2,000. So anyways, we'll do that later, okay? That's going to be at the end of all this. Who's the fish? Oh! Fish is Ken Collins here, Beth's husband. Aren't you proud? I also want to say thank you to all the volunteers today. As in the hash, you cannot do it all by yourself. And I want to thank everybody for just jumping in. And when I say move this, move that, do this, do that, they would do it. And so I love all these people. Okay, so they will wander around. If you have not had a chance to do the raffle, they will wander around and swim out there. Thanks, guys. So, behind me, I know, Dogfish was a big fish guy. That's my interpretation of a fish tank. Which should tell you, never let me take care of your fish. Or your children. Or your pets. Or your husbands. Yeah. Okay. they might not do so well. So anyways, I did write down what I wanted to say, because I know this is a hard day and I would have a hard time with this. So here we go. We are gathered today to celebrate Bob Fenner, aka Dogfish, a friend to everyone. He was kind, he was funny, he was smart and a giving person. And he did request that he had a party to celebrate his life. So by being here, you are all fulfilling his last wish. Woo! Yeah. Today you will learn more about your dear friend that you never knew. And for example, I don't know if you know, but he saved every single holiday card he got, every single birthday card, every last bit of it. And that's because he loved each and every one of you, which was amazing. I mean, wow. Yeah, thank you cards, whatever it was. So he saved all those. Okay, I lost my place, and I don't know if I can see.
Holidays.
Hold on, I got it. He also saved every single name badge he ever got. I mean, from every job, every convention, every hash event, every darn thing. They're all in this basket here. So at the end of this, when everything's calmed down, you are welcome to come up and take a piece of Bob with you. It would look pretty good on a Happy Coat. So there's badges in there and all kinds of stuff. So this here. So I think he would really dig that and have you guys go home with him. I would also like to tell you very much about the patch you received today. Bob's favorite fish was the flame angel, which his best friend Peter told me about, Impy. And I thought, how very fitting, a flame angel to represent Bob. Flame because everyone here at one point or another had a meal by him. And if not, raise your hand because I doubt it. And the angel because he was so kind and sharing. The patch is the flame angel, and it is with another flame angel fish because he'll always be with you. He always was a friend to everybody. Okay, so per Bob's wishes, he was a huge Beatles fan. I need every one of you to stand up. And this is per his wishes, so don't you dare. I'll come over and smack you, and you know I will. Okay. He wanted everybody to dance at his celebration of life. So we're going to play a song now.
Oh, shit.
Oh, sorry. Okay, this gives you a chance to stretch, okay? So nobody pulls anything. Oh, Jackie.
May I have this dance?
Vomit.
Right? Right up to
Come on, Huey, you can do it.
Maybe we can just like sing along. Turn it up.
This is a song. It's John Lennon.
Give me life, keep me breathe some birds, give me hope, help me go with this heavy load, trying to touch me, reach you with
Get it, Howdy!
Dianna Fenner.
Here she goes.
But we're going to play. It's okay. Dianna will come on up and thank you. Oh, he got it. It's okay. Dianna.
Cut his pay.
Try the dash out.
Oh, that's fine.
I can't see anything. No, there's massive glare. Oh, it's how to scrape the plate. What the other side of the road? Sorry.
Well, let's get Dianna. That's okay. Let's get Dianna up here.
Come back here in the dark. Can you see better? No, but I gotta be close to this. So.
Yeah. No, I'll help them. We're good. So next is Dianna Fenner. So
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming today. I know some of you have traveled from far away, some very close, some even on bicycles. Thank you. Bob was a Renaissance man. Anyone that knew him knew that. He was an author, photographer, teacher, and student. His joy for living touched many. And if he met you once, you were friends for life. He had this amazing gift to connect with people, and you never forgot him. So join me today in celebrating this unique man we've known as our own Dogfish, Bob. Thank you. And Impy, you're next.
There's so much to say about this guy. You guys got 2 or 3 hours?
If you talk louder, right into the mic, please.
Anyway,
There you go.
there's a lot of things that people don't know about Bob. I got to know over 18 years of living with him. I outlasted all 3 of his wives. A lot of hashers do know a lot about him. A lot of people from the Fish and Aquarium Society know things about him, but they don't know things that both parties know. So, he was raised on a military base in Japan. So he got a little bit of a culture help in Japan, being raised over there. And that's where he's got his interest in fishes, aquarium, natural history. But a lot of people don't know that he was a very good martial artist. And according to his sister, who used to go to the events, he said he never ever got defeated in his martial arts. He was so determined that he was a really, really good martial artist. And then as a young man, he took off to the Philippines and started to get involved in the fish trade, collecting fishes, getting to know people out there in the Philippines. A lot of people also don't know that he was a Vietnam veteran. He was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. He served his country over there. When he came back to San Diego, he went into the teaching business. And his description was that I paid my debts to society by teaching in the schools here. So he teaches science in the schools, Rosemont District. And then he set up businesses. And a lot of people don't know he was involved in pet shop businesses. He was involved in the pond businesses. He managed a lot of the ponds and lakes around San Diego. He had a lot of equipment. That came to an end when we had the water shortage, but he employed hundreds of people during that time, and a lot of people don't know that. And then he went to work for Petco. He organized their fish facilities, trying to make it better. And he was always trying to make things better wherever he went. Better for the world, better for his friends. And then, of course, he was involved in the hash. And that's where most of us met him, in the hash. I met him in the 80s, and our main thing was drinking, of course. We got on like a house on fire, no problem. Because I could drink with him. He said, well, why don't you come and live with me? And I said, well, people might start to think funny things. Well, yeah. Well, we did live together for the 18 years, and we were always known as the odd couple. But, so, during that time, of course, with his experience in traveling and natural history, we traveled the world. We went diving, we had all sorts of adventures all over, to places like Fiji, and we have Walt Smith and his family here from Fiji. We visited Fiji, went to Hawaii. We bought a house with Slowpoke in Hawaii. I had great travels over there, and whenever we went on a trip, which was 4 or 5 times a year, his philosophy was that you never ever end a vacation until you've decided where your next vacation is going to be.
Nice.
And of course, everybody knows him as a cook in the hash, and he would feed everybody. He started slow, but he got into cooking. You all knew what sort of facilities he had, the pots, the pans, the barbecuing thing. And in days gone by, the hash was a little bit bigger than what it is now. And one year, he said, Impy, we're cooking for the red dress. Okay. He said, that's the good news. He said, the bad news is there's 1,500 people. So, of course, cooking for 1,500 people, it takes a little bit of an organization. So a lot of people around here, they know, they were recruited. They know about cooking fatty chicken. And people like Joe Camparisi, if he shaved his beard off, you'd see what a complexion he has, all from this fat chicken that we used to cook for weeks and weeks before the events.
Oh, God.
Weeks and weeks.
His biggest...
At least it wasn't undercooked.
One of his biggest achievements is when he set up his website, wetwebmedia.com, and this was to help people all over the world in terms of looking after their fishers' problems. He had friends help him, and whenever you went away with him, the first 2 hours of the day, he would sit by his computer answering questions, even if it was all flow with a tuppence halfpenny goldfish, or someone who'd got a $500 fish. He would sit at the computer. He would help those people, and a lot of help answering questions, and also making sure that all those questions got put onto his website. If you ever go to his website, you would find he's got 20,000 or more frequently asked questions. And not only that, he read all those questions and he spell checked every one of those questions. That's him for detail. He said, on my website, I will not have misspelled words. So on all his articles and everything else, it was proofread by him. And that was his, that's his great tribute to life. Many people here have been helped by him. People who have had some problems. So come with me, live with me. Come on, get in. I'll look after you for a while. All of you know who you are. He was great helping out people. And that was his life. He had a big life.
Walter up here. Walter.
That's closing. That was beautiful.
So a lot of the hashers here don't know who this is, but he is going to explain. You don't mind explaining?
What a setup.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, Mike. Bob and I'm from Bob's fishy side of his life. Most of the people here I know are Hash House Harriers, and when we were together, he talked about you guys a lot, especially his cooking. But Bob and I met when we were in our 20s, which was a couple of years ago, I guess. And we've stayed in touch over the years, many, many times. I was a wholesaler, and he, at the time, owned a pet store. So we developed a relationship during those years, and we would meet many times off duty at a bar or a restaurant or whatever, and it was always good times. And it's been said before today already, but one of the greatest things about Bob is the minute you met him, he was your best friend. And I can remember Bob walking up to people at conventions or so forth that he hadn't seen in years, and his normal stance would be, he'd put his hand on your shoulder, and he'd look directly into your eyes and say, "How you doing, mate?" And he meant it. He really wanted to know how you were doing. So he was genuine. A genuine good friend to everybody he ever met. And in 1989, my wife and I decided to move down to the South Pacific to extend our business and become a collector rather than a wholesaler. And we started off in Tonga for 7 years, and then we moved to Fiji in 95 and expanded our business. And Bob had spent many, many trips down there because he loved to dive. And why did he come? Because he loved to help. Every time he came, he rolled his sleeves up and he helped us expand our system. He helped us with the divers. He helped us in any way he could that he knew. And I'll never forget in one of his more recent trips, which goes back about 10 years ago, we were expanding our station to a little island way up north. And we went up there for a dive, and we looked around, and we spent 3 days there. And he said, "Mate, you need more time here. I'm not sure the fish what you're looking for are here." And we did surveys. We did about 5 dives a day, and we did all the surveys we could. And finally, he rolled his sleeves up and said, "We need more time, and we're going to build a system right here." And he stayed an extra 2 weeks just to help me build and put in place the fish tanks it was going to take to operate that station. That's the kind of guy he was. And a little side story, living in the islands like that, things aren't always available. So when you have friends or family coming to visit you, they become your mule. Bob called him, "Well, what can I bring? What do you need, mate?" I said, "Well, down in your area they have a really good tequila, Porfidio. And we can't buy it here." And that was in the days before they counted the bottles as you were coming into the country. So he said, "Okay, yeah, I can find that." He had to drive to Mexico to get it, but he got it. And he put 5 bottles in his suitcase to bring down.
Nice.
Porfidio comes in a bottle that's about this big around, and it has a neck about that long. That's only this big. So I picked Bob at the airport, threw the bags in the bag. We get to our house.
Oh, no.
We open up his bags, and out of the 5 bottles, 4 of them had broken necks. Now we're talking about very expensive tequila.
Wring out the clothes.
And he's trying to wring out his t-shirt. He was on the floor. It was, "Oh, what are we going to do, mate? What are we going to do?" I said, "I don't know, get out the straws."
Yeah.
So that was one of the funny times I remember about Bob coming down. But the other thing is he would sleep on a couch, he would sleep on the floor, he would sleep anywhere he could because he wanted to be there to help, and that was Bob. Bob genuinely loved people. He genuinely loved what he could do for people, and he shared his knowledge. He was one of those people that you just loved to have around because he was funny. And you never wanted to take advantage of Bob because Bob wouldn't let you. He just put in and did the work and loved doing it. And that was the Bob Fenner that both Deb and I grew to know. And actually, I was privileged enough to write the foreword to one of his books, a book that I happen to love that was more about what I do. But I don't know if you people, the runners know, this book that is on the t-shirt is the best-selling book in the tropical world fish business. Conscientious Marine Aquarium, the #1 seller. And it's a beautiful book, and the title just tells you what it's about. Be conscientious about what you're doing. Make sure what you're doing is sustainable, and that the world is a better place after you're left. And I think the world is a better place since Bob has gone on to Dance with the Butterflies. Thank you.
Beautiful. Great story.
Oh, so. Yeah. So this is your chance now. If you'd like to come up and say a lovely story about Bob, you want it? Here we go. I nemesis all day. No, he's sweet. Here we go.
I had to beat it because most of you know this man a lot longer than I ever did. So, which is interesting is that I've learned more about him in the last 5 minutes than I did in at least 2 years. So, which is interesting is that the reason I say that is you didn't need to. You didn't need to know him for 30 years, 40 years, 2 months, 4 days, 3 hours, 1 hash. He was immediate as soon as you met him. And the reason I knew that is it was like every time I saw him, he remembered me. He asked a question that was sincere, which was always at this moment about my child, but he was concerned. Like you meet people all the time. He was real. He was definite, and it was something that it was a staple for me. When I came to San Diego in 2016, I didn't know anything about Dogfish. I didn't know. I really didn't. I just knew he was there, and it was going to be a good time. And that's why I wanted to rush up here, is that my story is short, my story is sweet, but it was something that someone that was, I might be a little long in the tooth for talking maybe, but a little bit gray in the beard and no hair on my head, so I look like I'm your age. Calm down. Hey, guys, this isn't La Jolla. You're not that bad. But it didn't matter. But it crossed multiples, right? It was he didn't care. He was in the moment for him. He was in the moment for anywhere. From this hash, which is different from La Jolla, which is different from Humpin', which is different from San Diego, just North County, Larrikins, half-assed, but it was the same to him because it was you. It was you, me, you, her, he, they, them. So if that's some philosophy you can't take home, I don't know what is. So all I knew is that it was going to be a good day if Dogfish was there. So thank you, Dogfish. You taught us a lot, and you ruined food for the rest of our times here because we're never going to equal it. So I'm just going to bring you a bag of chips. That man will make you those chips and some, a roast and everything else. So all I have to say is that it's timeless. He wasn't just a hasher, he was a human. And I think that's the most important aspect of all of this. It's just he was there.
Cheers.
Good story. Beautiful story.
Hey, so I'm one of those fish geeks. So,
like a fish.
Yes, like that. Yes.
So I'm one of those fish geeks. And I recognize some of your faces because I went to some of the hash events with him. And I want you to know he was my hero long before he was my friend. what he did for the pet fish industry was profound. The Conscientious Marine Aquarist was one of the most important books, not just one of the best-selling books, but one of the most important book in the pet fish industry. Read it, it's worth it. Even if you're not a fish geek, just read it, enjoy it, and know it was from your friend. He changed my life. I knew him through Web Media. I worked on the website with him. I spent mornings with him when we went to Hawaii together, sitting next to him while he was on the computer for those 2 hours that Pete was talking about. And you couldn't talk to him for that first hour. Not until he'd had his coffee. By God. But after that coffee, we had some of the most incredible conversations I've had with anybody. I learned more from him in an hour than I learned in my entire schooling. And he changed my life in so many ways. I'm one of those folks that grew up, I thought scuba diving was something other people did, you know? And then I went diving in the Red Sea with him and Dianna and Jack. I saw Jack somewhere. I went scuba diving with my hero in the Red Sea. That's amazing, right? And he really was that kind of guy that he was your best friend as soon as you met him. And I remember meeting him at one of the conventions thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna go meet my hero, right? We were best friends by the end of the day, just like he was with everybody. The things he did for the pet fish community and me and so many other people in Web Media was truly life-changing. This guy was a giant, and he was also humble and just like all the rest of us. And I want you all to know that in seeing all of these familiar faces and strange faces, I feel him here with all of you.
Harmless June bug, don't worry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd love to have, I have another speaker. I wanted to just mention on the itinerary at the very bottom, there's a YouTube, it's a slideshow of Bob, and it's put on by the MASNA, which is the fish organization. It's wonderful. I think it's about 20 minutes, but I think you'd enjoy it. So don't take this one. Just take a picture of it. I'm trying to save on paper. You guys know I'm a recycler. So,
Sustainability.
But yes, yeah. Also, I don't have to pick up after you. I know my peeps. Okay.
It's kind of embarrassing to find out that you're really not as special as you thought. Anyone that ever did Green Flash Hash, that used to be a joy because no matter how shitty the trail was, you knew when you came back in, if Dogfish was there, you were going to be treated. And even when there's a group around, he'd always come up to me and put his hand on my shoulder, and say, how you doing? And it was like I was just that special person that he treated everyone else, and it was wonderful to have had that experience. So, on, Dogfish.
Yay.
Okay. Rondon! Now, talk about heroes. I love it when I ask somebody to put on a costume and they do. I didn't even ask him. I know. That's why heroes.
Innuendo, you just can't handle it. But I'd like to, I agree with what that last guy said. Tim. And then for those of you who don't know, I have some cognizant difficulties. I can't remember who the fuck any of you guys are. But Bob, I do remember, and like everyone said, and I thought, I was kind of special, and I am. But, when I met Bob in the 80s, probably about 86, 87, he kind of took me under his wing and took care of me when I was drunk and when I was, falling down and lying at the bottom of the pool somewhere. But Bob was, generally just a good guy. He'd give me a ride home, and tell my parents that don't worry, he's not a bad person, he's just drunk. But, you know, but we were, I thought, you know, very, very good friends, and a lot of people back in those days used to mistake us for each other. I never saw the resemblance. But, you know, Bob and I, we did a few things together, and one of those things was the Tecate Ensenada relay. It's a 75-mile relay between Tecate and Ensenada. Yeah, go figure. But everyone was cheating on that thing, you know. They would, you know, drop somebody off and then drive ahead in their van, and then drop somebody off and wait for the guy, and then we were trying to play it fair and square, and we were not fast runners. It was me and Bob, and I don't know who else it was, but the federales came along and said, "You guys got to get off the fucking road," something to that effect. And so we all got in the van. This buddy of mine was driving it, and we drove in. We got pretty close to the finish line, and I said, "Okay," and I don't know, it's either me or Bob. We said, "Let's get out, and we'll all run in together." We were the official last place finishing team there. 1988. So in appreciation for, and again, you know, from that, you know, that's just one thing. And there's lots of stories, you know, Bob, Dogfish, just a great guy. You know, he really was a good friend. And, you know, I didn't know him. I mean, I knew him real well, but it just didn't spend enough time with him, is all I gotta say. And he'll be missed. All right, you guys can take a look at this, but don't steal it. All right, I need another beer.
Thanks, Ron John.
Give me one. Sure.
Would somebody get Coors Light for the DJ? Anybody?
I got it.
Can't leave his umbrella.
I saw a few there. Actually, shoot me. Maybe we should do this right now. Shoot me. Never mind. We'll do that later. We do want to take a group photo. We're going to be doing it here once we're done, okay? And we'll have you all squeeze in.
I think Bort wants to
Those
talk.
are really cool to have. We use that with Dogfish to get some photos. So here we go.
Just a very quick addition to what everyone has said already. People. Dogfish loved people. Bob Fenner loved people. How I know is after all these years, he knew everyone's mortal name. He would call me by it on the emails. Anytime I saw him, he knew my whole name, and he knew everybody else's whole name. That's all I know.
Yes, it's just going to be a little bit unusual compared to all the other nice things people said. But I knew Dogfish a long time, and when I think of Dogfish, one name comes to mind. Asshole. Yeah, you're thinking I'm losing my name and can't remember anything. Goddamn Cannibus has lost his mind again. But a little explanation is needed. Dogfish used to have these asshole dinners, okay? And these dinners were always taking place at his house. He would spend the day cooking, preparing these wonderful meals. He would invite all these various hashers, old hashers, young hashers. We would all sit around and we eat the fabulous food. We would drink a little, then drink a lot more, and then we would play a fabulous game of asshole. Now, Bob had this unique capability, annoying to be quite honest, but in which there was, in this game quite honestly, what is called the winner of the game. And they were called the... No, not asshole.
President.
The Presidente. And the Presidente got to wear the Presidente headgear. And it was wonderful. Everybody wanted to wear the Presidente headgear. But the loser of the game, has always had to wear the asshole headgear. You know, Bob had the annoying habit of always putting the asshole headgear next to me. He absolutely had the insight to know that I was going to be the loser of this particular game. Very, very remarkable man. When watching Dogfish during these events, it was like watching a proud parent looking over his children, his hash family. He knew that they were fed, they were drinking, they were happy, they were having amazing pleasure, and you could just see him smile and glow as saying, I have done what I really wanted to do. I've taken care of my hash family. And when you think back about from this point of view of where I obviously was the asshole, I want to tell you, Bob Dogfish will forever be the hash presidente. Thank you.
Hold that out.
Hello, everyone. I started hashing in Hawaii on Oahu in March of '96. And in April, there was a hasher that was visiting, and he was talking in an Australian accent. Soon after, I moved back to California and landed in San Diego, and I met up with Dogfish, and I said, you remember me? Of course, he talked normal, and I was like, I thought you were Australian. He goes, oh, that's only when I'm drunk. I've gone on a few trips with Dogfish. One I want to mention is with Impy and Lone Twat and I, we took his VW van down to San Felipe. We hit every type of weather. We got stuck in the dirt, the sand. We had to have the locals help pull us out. We had hail, we had rain, we had sun, you name it. Well, on the way back, we pulled over the side of the road, probably because Impy had to pee or something. And Dogfish comes up to me behind me and says, I'm going to push you down that hill. Well, it was soft dirt, and he actually did, and landed on top of me. Gashed my hand, and Impy was in the back doing first aid, and Dogfish kept saying, is she going to be okay? Is she going to be okay? It's like, yeah, something like that's not going to do me in. So I want to say, here to Dogfish, we miss you and we love you forever.
Here.
So first of all, it's super interesting as someone who knew him through the hash, as someone who knew him from the hash community, and to hear Dogfish's other life in the fish community, how he was such an icon in both, because most of us are not usually noteworthy in one or the other. Sure. In one or the other. I was hair raiser for San Diego and Humpin for 2014 and 2015. And I was going through all my old messages to Dogfish because we'd line up the trails, deciding all the food. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sure. And just going through, one day I said, can you do breakfast? He's like, I'll make blintzes. One time he said, hey, it's a German theme. I'll make sausages. And all this. One time we had a Passover hash, and I sent him a video for matzah brei, which is this torn up matzah egg thing, and he made it too. And going through the ugly as well, where we're like, hey, Dogfish, can you make your write-up about the food a little better? Because it sounds like leftovers. We want to get the pack excited, and it's going to be rainy outside. But, and anytime we needed to do a trail, he opened up his house, said, let's go, smile with his face on. No matter what he was doing, he'd stop. The thing I remember most is holidays. I remember one Thanksgiving, my family's on the other side of the country, and I had nowhere to go. And so he just opened up his house for hashers. And I remember it's a quiet moment. Everyone's in his jacuzzi outside having some kind of hookup orgy. And inside is myself, Circle Jerk, and Dogfish, and we're just watching some documentary on evolutionary animals, and he's bringing out food and crackers, and it was really nice. It felt like home because there's always a hash house in every city, somewhere that the hash community always goes from and lives from, and that was really his house. And it wasn't just doing food. It was opening up his home at any time, any day, and saying, you know, your home for the hash community, even if your family's elsewhere, is my house. So, you know, we're gonna miss him. No one will ever replace him. But to you, Dogfish.
All right, you guys, listen up. Little bit of trivia, more trivia. Something you didn't know about Dogfish. I know there's a lot of things you haven't known about him, but he was divinely inspired. He had inspiration from the divine. And one day in 1986, before most of you were even born, I was getting named, and he got a divine inspiration. He came up with Wondershlong. There you go, that's it. Put it in your inspiration book.
Right on, Dogfish. I got a great story. He actually saved my life once. This is a true story. We were at the first Mexican Mardi Gras. Woohoo! Who was there? Raise your hand. Yay! There's a lot of people that have died. Okay, so anyway, us unlucky guys that couldn't hook up at the end of the night, we decided to go to the strip club. So you guys know where the strip club is in Ensenada, right?
Yes.
Yes. Come on, raise your hand if you've been there. Yeah. So anyway, we went in there and I kind of started making fun of the strippers. And I was saying, you know, the hash women here, the ones that did show up, they're way better than yours. And they were kind of pissed because we weren't tipping them, but we were tipping the hash women. And the bouncer comes up to me and he goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I go, "Well, I'd rather tip them than tip yours." And all of a sudden, he just gets this look. There's these two big guys. And the next thing I know, Dogfish has got me by this, and he's kicking me in the ass. He goes, "Don't worry, mate, I got this asshole." And he throws me out the door. And he looks at me and he goes, "Mate, do your best drunk run because they're going to come out here and do the Mexican hat dance on you right now." And that is a true story. The second thing that I like to say is I sent in the first question to Dogfish's website, and I asked him how fish fuck. And he wrote me back a 2-page response. Thank you. Here's the Dogfish. Yay!
By the way, we gave all the tips to the pregnant stripper that was there. True story.
So the very first time I haired, baby Huey kind of walked me through the steps. I was nervous, you know, I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't sure what to do. And I'm like, I think I have a good trail, blah, blah, blah. I got it all dialed in. Baby Huey's like, "Well, what are you cooking?" And I was like, "I have to cook?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's a Friday night hash. San Diego Hash House Harriers, they serve dinner." And I was like, "Well, I've been worrying about the trail." He's like, "Don't worry, we got it covered." This man that I've never met shows up in my backyard in a bus with the most cooking gear I've ever seen, the biggest fucking spread, and he's like, "Where do you want it?" And I was like, "Do whatever you want. There's tables here, here's a table." And he's like, "Cool, I got it. Go do your run. You'll do great." And I was like, man, this guy is fucking awesome. He saved the day. So that was my first Dogfish meeting moment. The only other thing that I have to say is that I know for a fact I am not the only straight male here that came up, paid my money, looked at this memorial, saw this black and white photo of Dogfish, and questioned my sexuality.
Hate to follow that. So, Bob and I used to like to all the fossils out there would read the San Diego Union Tribune. Well, we had a running conversation on that, and he'd always talk about the Union Tribune would blackball him. He could send them letters to the editor. They wouldn't print them anymore because of some controversy he had with them in the past. But today, in the paper today, Union Tribune, all you fossils, so still read it. There's an article on coral and how they've done mapping of coral all around the world. And that would have been a wonderful conversation to have had with him today. To discuss, it would have been a great time. But another story was back in the early days of hashing, I didn't really know how GMs worked, how they got selected for San Diego hash. So I thought it would be great if Dogfish and I would be GMs, not knowing how the process worked. But back in those days, the currency for being a GM was like you had to give 6 blowjobs. And now today, how many blowjobs would you get before you took the job? But best story for Dogfish was he was herring down the coast, and he was giving pre-run brief, and he was standing up on this log outside of Las Olas, and he was out giving the instructions of the pre-run brief when Walking Small came up behind him and pantsed him
and said, "Stretch, you're so fast." And I was like, "It's like, you just burning down those hills, you are gonna destroy your knees." Now, if I had forethought, which I did not, I would have taken that comment a little bit more serious, because clearly that has happened. But anyway, he had more common sense than I did. Love Dogfish.
Okay, I know a lot of you are going to say, okay, oh God, it's fucking Larry. What does Larry fucking know? It's going to take forever, and I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually going to be kind of short and sweet, believe it or not. I know. So I just started hashing, not even a month. And there's this AGM camp out thing, and I'm all excited, like, yeah, camp out! We're gonna get drunk, it's crazy! Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I wanna get back. So I bring my cool little Coleman stove. I'm gonna make pancakes and coffee and stuff. And I set up my little tent off the side, wherever, and I've never been to a camp out. I don't know any of these motherfucking hashers. I'm like, what the hell? And like, where is everybody? What's going on? And I walk around, and here I see this cool little Vanagon thing with a terrace, and like, oh my God, a gigantic thing of coffee, and pancakes, and eggs, and sausage, and the whole thing, and I'm like, fuck. Damn, way to outdo me, man. Way to outdo me. I find out, hey, did you set this up? Start talking Dogfish. He's like, hey, babe, sure, come on. It's like, hey, could I help you, like, just pass out food or whatever? Yeah, that'd be great. And he's like, take over. And he just like sits back, drinks coffee, eating. And I've never seen, I don't know how old Dogfish was. This is, just 2018, right? Never seen a man move so quickly when, I don't know, my half mind put the fucking coffee, the main hot part of the coffee on top of the plastic on the table, the plastic table. He jumped out of that van so quickly, like a 20-year-old, man. He was like, pew! No, don't put that on, because he was sure I was going to melt a hole straight through that table. It didn't work. But truly, Dogfish was a lover. He loved everybody. And I immediately, he did not, just like everybody else has said here, he remembered me every single time. And I'm still, relatively a baby hasher, it's 3 years. He was so sweet every single time you ever came about.
For those of you that haven't volleyball hashed, that was one of the places I met Dogfish. And one of the fun things we used to do with Dogfish was when the Bahia Bell boat would go by with that big old thing behind it, we'd all run out to the shoreline, and we would just get that boat going, because people, we'd applaud them and wave at them, make sure they were looking first, and we'd just stand on the edge of the water and moon the shit out of them. It was great. So that was one of the things I loved. And he was your friend. I have to thank him. Every time I heard the trail, I could count on him for food. No matter what was going on, and I thought I could handle it or something, he would show up. So that was really cool. And if I was eating shrimp one time, I just remember this, just munching away on shrimp, and I'd leave the tail, and he goes, "Mate, this is the best part." And he would just throw it in his mouth and start chewing up the tail of the shrimp. I'm like, are you kidding me? But that was Dogfish for you, so it was one of my stories. Thank you, Dogfish. Peace.
As one of the founders of the Green Flash Hash, I had the great opportunity of getting to really know Dogfish over the years. We would spend time together setting up the food before the hash, and a lot of people didn't know, but he had his own commissary in his garage. He had shelves of different types of pots and pans, number 10 cans of you name it, he had them. And he knew how to recycle food. So because he serves at so many different hashes that if he served hot dogs on Monday, you knew you were going to have some type of hot dogs on Tuesday. He had recipes on how to reuse things like you wouldn't believe. But he made one kick-ass ahi pokey. And it was like off the hook. And the other thing, he made the best macaroni and cheese. Frying things or boiling things, sometimes not so good. But it was always edible. It was always edible. But what I cherished was I had the honor for close to 6 years. And out of the 70 plus runs that Green Flash did, Dogfish served food for over 60 of them. And I got to know this man intimately. And he's just a sweet, sweet man. And he loved everybody. He was gracious, he was honorable, and I can't say enough good things about him.
He was the fifth wheel of the Green Flash Founders.
I want to say, if you don't know me, I'm Asian Orange, and I turned 50 6 years ago. Yay! And I said to Dogfish, "Do you want to cook for my birthday?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, He said, "What do you want?" I said, "Anything Korean." So then he made bulgogi, and then he made spam musubi. He actually brought kimchi, and I said to him, like, "What do I owe you?" And he said, "Nothing." That is who he is. I love Dogfish. He's always been in our heart all the time. My first hash I ever went, he cooked, and I went up to him and said, "I'm a fresh hasher," or I don't even virgin, right? And he said, "Welcome." It was freezing cold January day, and he cooked soup. I still remember how much he loved serving people, how much he loved getting to know people, and he knew me from then on, and he actually did the cooking for my 50th birthday, and I will never ever forget. He's so sweet. He was one of the sweetest men I ever known. Thank you, guys.
Hi, my name is 3-Bit Queer, and I turned 50 1 year ago. There's a couple things with Dogfish I've already heard several times tonight. I too met him at the Bali Hash, and he was like one of the most welcoming people, and just super nice to me. And just like upright, my first hash, I didn't know I was in charge of food too, and 2 days before it went down, I called him up and said, "Hey, can you pull my nuts out of the fire?" And sure enough, he did. But my favorite story about Dogfish was about his bus. Everybody knows about his bus.
And I don't know if most of you know that those kind of buses are, those things increase in value every year, and they're fairly precious to those people who own them. And one day I was like just marveling at it. I've kind of got a little thing about those things. I get kind of sexually excited every time I see a pop-top bus. I'm like, man, Dogfish, that thing is so cool. How long have you had it? He told me all about it. He goes, and then he said to me, just let me know if you're going camping sometime. You can borrow it. And I said, whoa, are you sure? And he's like, absolutely. And I'm like, wow. Now, I never had the courage to actually take him up on that offer, mostly because I didn't want to wreck it and be responsible for this nice thing. But I'm sure if I did, he would have let me have it.
I actually have a Dogfish story. I know. I was up here before. So Fluff, when I got engaged and we were getting married, and I asked Dogfish, would you kindly do the food for our hash wedding? And he goes, yes, I would love to do that. And I said, would you walk me down the aisle at my hash wedding? And he goes, yes, I would love to do that. And I said, and we actually have an actual wedding. Could I tuck you into that? And he goes, yes. And he says, what else is on the list? Well, we did a redo I Do 5 years later, and he goes, how often are you people going to get married? And I said, as many as it takes to make sure it works.
Yay!
Anyways, but he was so good, and he was just so charming about the whole thing, and whatever I wanted, and it was just wonderful. So, anyways, I had to show that.
When Stretchy mentioned her running ability, you always talk about Dogfish in his cooking years. But remember, he was the hasher that had the fastest Boston Marathon time.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And this is number two, coming up 3. But this is a little bit hash trivia for laying a trail. I don't know how many of you guys remember Upchuck. He's not with us anymore, but he laid a trail through Torrey Pines in the park. And he put lots of nice, easy-growing, biodegradable flower down there in the park and everything else. And this ranger grabbed him and said, what the hell are you doing? And he said, oh, I'm laying a trail, and it'll be gone tomorrow. No, put your hands behind your back. He got arrested, $300 fine, and he tried to fight it. And he said, well, it's a San Diego hash, so they ought to pay for it. They said, what? Who are you? He ended up paying the $300 fine himself. Now, a few years later, Dogfish laid a trail through the Torrey Pines park. And it was a larrikin. So we were standing at the start, and he was handing out little rolled up pieces of paper and had a little rubber band on it. He said, what do we do with this? He said, don't worry about it, mate. You'll figure it out. So anyway, we got up through close to Torrey Pines, going into the park, and there was a little sign there, and it said, unroll your paper. So you unrolled the paper. Here, he had gotten a whole bunch of maps from the ranger, where you go in and just grab them, because they're all over the place. And he put a little diagram on the map as to how to follow the trail through the park. So there was no flower, no nothing. And that's how he got everybody through the Torrey Pines Park. So there's a good way of trivia for anybody who wants to lay a trail through the park. Get those maps and draw it on there, hand them out, and you'll remember Dogfish all the way. On.
So we'll either have 3 more speakers, or I can end it now. Is there anybody else who wants to speak? Please come on up, quickie. Anybody else? Because we can have 2 more after that, and then we'll wrap this up so we can play some Beatles music for Dogfish. I know he's out. Come on and party.
Good afternoon. My name's Wiki.
Hey.
Good afternoon. One of the gems that Dogfish shared with me was when he was the manager of the pet store. One of his employees came up to him and said, could he go to lunch? And Dogfish said to his employee, have the animals eaten yet? And of course the employee said no, and Dogfish said, then absolutely not. You are not going to lunch until the animals have eaten. The other thing is, does anyone else remember his coffee cup in the mornings, the measuring cup? I don't think anyone's mentioned the measuring cup yet. And Dogfish cooked for our inaugural hash trail in Hawaii. Impy and I were the Hares, and Dogfish cooked the food for our Kona Coast Hash House Harriers inaugural. So please, anyone come join us if you'd like to. And that's it. Aloha.
I have to talk about my friend Bob, Dogfish. If you all know him cooking, I know him as a runner. And he got me to do my first half marathon. I never ran like that. Oh, sorry.
Interesting that you know how to do that.
That's kind of fun.
See, John?
It's very natural. So I did one 5K in my life. And he goes, I'm doing a half marathon in 2 weeks. You want to do it with me? I go, I don't think I'm ready. He goes, you're ready. Jeff said you're doing the hash. You're running 3-4 miles, 5 miles, no problem. So I go, sure. So I end up doing the AFC.
Oh, Jesus.
And we stayed side by side. We hit the 10K mark. He turns to me and he goes, how does it feel to do your first 10K? I go, it's not that bad, because it's only going to get worse going up there. So we run up, we finish the race. I couldn't walk for a day and a half. And he goes, now you're ready for your first marathon. This is the LA number 6 that he made me run with him. My first marathon. And we ran the whole way together to the last few miles, and I actually passed him up and finished ahead of him. But he got me to run this marathon, and it was the most beautiful thing I ever did afterwards, because you feel so good. And we drank like dogfishes at the end. It was just, he loved to drink, he loved to have a good time. One of the things I heard people talk about out there is that he had a retail outlet and he loved pet fish and all that. Well, he had 2 retail stores, and their name was Wet Pets. And he loved those stores, and I helped him stock them. He had a warehouse on Trade Street in Mira Mesa. He lived in Mira Mesa, and he would spend every day just working his ass off to get this thing going until Petco opened up and essentially put him out of business. So that's how he joined Petco, because they actually put him out of business. And as much as he liked Petco working for him, he still had some animosity to him, I guess. I don't know. But he was everybody's friend. He was very genuine. He loved everybody. I do have pictures here of Bob's ass, of every place that I've been to, of him bearing his ass. And I showed this to a few people, and they go, I didn't know Bob was that fit. That was the runner Bob, back in the day. And I guess he did the best marathon, Boston Marathon, out there. But Bob would call you by your mortal name, and he knew your name, always. And what is Bob's mortal name? Dogfish's mortal name? Robert Milton Fenner. And Milton was his father's name. And that's what he's named after. And I want to raise my glass and have a beer for Robert Milton Fenner. On, Dogfish. Love you. You can look at these pictures right there, up there, but as Ron John said, don't steal them.
And so I'll put them over here, okay? Oh, my. Yes, it's really bad that I know that's Dogfish's butt. Anyways, couple things. We've got one last speaker, and then after that we're going to do the group photo. It's going to be pretty much from here to there, so we'll ask everybody to squeeze in. We have the t-shirts over there. They're 15. If there's a profit at all, I guess it's going to go towards the aquarium fund or something like that. Impy can tell you more about that, Peter. We'll get the music playing. Do help clean up. We have CRV over there. There's trash cans. There's also a dumpster. A dumpster. I got them especially to put it over there for us. Okay. So does everybody know where the dumpster is?
It's over there.
Oh, you guys are so good.
Are you ready for
I love it.
rubbish orientation?
Yeah. Okay. Next, we're going to have Carri up here. Carri, please come on up. She's going to wrap it up for us, and then we'll take that group photo. Okay?
You can all blame me for the group photo because if anyone knows me, knows it's mandatory picture time. So.
Speak in the microphone.
Really?
Speak
Okay.
up, like a rapper. And loud. Like a rapper.
Okay, for some of you who haven't seen me in a while, I'll do it myself. And this lovely lady here to my right, her husband somehow conned me into at a hash one day when I first showed up. He heard that I plan events, and he said, "Hey, would you like to plan the red dress run?" Come to find out, a couple hashes later, found out I was suckered in for 2 years. 2 years. So, and the problem was nobody knew me. So I've been hashing in Japan for about 10 years, but nobody knew who Do It Myself was. And I was arrogant as fuck and knew I could plan a fucking shit party like nobody's business. And if anybody remembers, did we not have Stone? Did we not have, who else did we have? Who was the wine? Oh yeah, come on. What are some of the other breweries that are at our red dress? Stone, doesn't matter who.
Firehouse.
We went to the whole Firehouse. Okay. Anyway, so in all this, I show up and I'm like, okay, I'll do this. And Bob offers up his place. Now, so nobody knows me from Adam. And Anna Rose here, if he's still here, he brought me to my first hash. And so I volunteer and I say I'll do this. Bob opens up his home and we have people that have volunteered to help be on the committee and do different roles. And they're all assholes. Like, they're all like, who the hell do you think you are? Like, they all literally were just like, who are you? Like, you know, we don't know you. We don't trust you. You can't, you know, what are you trying to do? And Bob was just like, look, give her a chance. She does this professionally. She's okay. And he just had my back. And over time, Sheep and Fluff and Micro and Jim, where are you at? All, you know, everyone got to know me and became my friends. And Bob was a really good friend. And I'm sorry if I'm just... You know how guys can make you feel creepy if they want to hit on you or make you feel like... Bob never made me feel creepy. And it was so nice. That's what I really wanted to say. He genuinely made you feel like, damn, you look good today. And I love that. Because every woman wants to feel good, but no feminist wants to feel like a creeper's on them. And Bob wasn't a creeper. He was a genuinely good guy. And we all lost a great man. And I just want to say that he was my friend, and he had my back. And literally up until like we met up at Christmas at Sheep's, and we had plans like a week before he died for a week. And I miss him, and I miss him. So thanks for all being here to celebrate him.
Thank you.
By the way, I don't know if you... She killed it. Red dress run. Thank you so much. You just rocked it. Thank you.
Okay.
But no, he will sucker you in. He will, he will hook you in.
It's really not that difficult. And if you want to line up for red dress, here.
And getting city permits is not a big deal anymore.
And there's beer right here.
Come on, it's fun. You'll love it.
It's a snap. Anyways, okay, we're going to take that photo now. Shoot me. Where are you going to be? Can we get the people over here to squeeze in this way, people over here squeeze in this way, and we'll be playing Beatles music, so please. And then after that, we'll be tonight. What? Oh, God!
Okay, do you want me to put these down? I have no idea. I'm not shit until we use Here.
Actually, I'm going to use your knee. Come on, run, scoot down. People's back, stand up.
Yeah.
Got it? You're in the front.
after, we're going to McGregor's. On after at McGregor's, if you want to go.
Sorry.
You know, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's all your fault for not showing up for that run. And I had to do it myself. It wasn't one run, it was every run. I had to do down that myself. Like all those, and they all started saying, here's the last exam my guy. And that was the first time? That was the first time. I thought it was like every week. No, that's when it started. It was so funny. I would just sit down while they did it, because it was like, you earned that one. Whatever, it's like you earned it. No, they were just latent frustration about your down. They were figuring out. You still got it. It's been like 20 years, you look exactly the same.
there's somebody who did not put in their name.
Susie, if you did not donate, come here, grab.
Are we doing the drawing?
Yes. The winner is Horsey.
Horsey. Wait, even better. Horsey donated $200 to Horsey. Where is Horsey? Wait, who won? Horsey did. Next fucking.
Must be present to win.
Dude, he's not here. but if you're not here, he's fucking not here. Let's go.
Bob wouldn't say that. Bob would not say that about you.
I'm trying to pressure everybody. I'm trying to pressure all these people here.
So if you're still here, you're part of cleanup.
Shit. That's